Thalassophobia is one of the most common fears on Earth, and if you think about it, that makes sense. It's basically the fear of the dark, but in a situation where you can't see, can't move, can't hear, and can't breathe. As a matter of fact, the second your head goes under the water, you lose 4 out of the 5 senses that we rely on for survival. And so naturally, this initiates a very powerful fear response, which oftentimes manifests as an imaginary sea monster you think is about to swallow you. But what if that wasn't just a baseless fear created by our anxiety? What if there actually was something down below, watching and waiting? Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Lovell, and tonight we will be breaking down and declassifying SCP-3000 and the thing on level 7, as well as exploring the psychological depths of the ocean. Both of these entities resemble enormous eels, with SCP-3000 measuring an estimated 900 kilometers in length, and the thing being a completely indeterminable size. However, despite their similar enormity and appearance, these two anomalies are vastly different. SCP-3000 is an enormous eel that inhabits the Bay of Bengal in the Indian Ocean. Its extraordinary size makes traditional containment impossible. However, its relative dormancy allows for the Foundation to maintain its secrecy by restricting access to its habitat. While the obvious threat posed by SCP-3000 is it's an enormous jaw on the end of a 2.5 meter wide head, the entity's real weapon is hidden under the surface. SCP-3000 is a cognitohazard. Proximity to and especially direct viewing of SCP-3000 is known to cause migraines and paranoia on the low end, and prolonged exposure has shown divers willingly feeding themselves to the serpent. SCP-3000's true anomalous ability is the ability to consume the human consciousness. It does not eat biological matter for sustenance. Humans consumed by the creature have been discovered to be held inside of its internal biology, their bodies completely intact but entirely non-functional. This effect will start gradually, as your memories slowly are torn away, often implanted with new ones believed to be residual memories of SCP-3000's past victims. By the time you understand what is happening, it is often too late. The realization that you have lost yourself is often too much to bear, leading to the entity taking hold on your mind and coaxing you out into its maw. I've always been drawn to horror, especially on the art side of things, and so it should come as no surprise that I've been a big fan of Junji for quite a while. In the second chapter of the 7th installment of his Horror World series, we see a story that to me is very reminiscent of SCP-3000. The Thing That Drifted Ashore is a short story about a remote fishing village off the coast of the Pacific Ocean. Our main character is a man who has been plagued by nightmares of looking out a window as enormous sea creatures swim by. One day, the village notices something in the water drifting ashore. It's a strange creature unlike any whale, squid, or aquatic organism they'd ever seen before. It lies on the beach, seemingly dead, the smell of rotting flesh noticeable from dozens of meters away. As they investigate the strange corpse, they notice transparent patches on its skin that allow them to look inside the creature. To their dismay, they see the soulless gaze of human bodies staring back at them. They quickly cut the creature open and realize in horror that the people trapped inside were still alive. Covered in stomach acid, starved for food and sunlight, barely surviving off of anything else the creature ate, becoming a parasite to the monster that devoured them. As the corpses sliced open, the bodies pour out, wailing and frantically crawling in all directions. After years and years of being trapped within the stomach of this fish, every one of them has gone insane. The story ends with the realization that the nightmares our protagonist had been having were not unique to him, but in fact plagued many people in the nearby area, and were more than likely the visions of those trapped inside of the creature, being cast out in dreams as a sort of distress call. While SCP-3000 may pose more of a direct threat than the creature that drifted ashore, the similarities between the two entities is striking. Both happily devour humans, but leaving them undigested, stripped of their humanity. It touches on one of the many parts that build Thalassophobia, the helpless, endless abyss, one which, if you gaze too deep into, might gaze right back. This is the fate that was bestowed on Dr. Krishnamoorthy, one of the initial researchers of SCP-3000. Addendum 3000.3 Psychological Evaluation. On 09, Level 3 researcher Krishnamoorthy attempted to exit out the Aramida's aft airlock without diving equipment, but was quickly restrained and the airlock cycle aborted. Despite having a CRV of 26 and having not displayed any previous signs of depression or suicidal attempts prior to his assignment aboard the Aramida, Krishnamoorthy was interviewed by staff clinical psychologist Dr. Anand Manava to acquire a better understanding of SCP-3000's potential effect on his psyche. Hi, how are you feeling? Unwell. That's what I hear. Do you want to talk about what happened today? We don't have to if you don't want to. We can talk about something else. I'm tired, and I understand this assignment has been stressful on all of us. It's not, no, it's not. It isn't the stress. I've done this before. I've been on. I don't actually know if I've done this before. You have. I don't remember it. Any of it. I've been getting these out of context feelings, like my body reacting to reflexes it didn't know it had. Everything is so disconnected, and trying to keep it together is just, I'm just tired. When did you start feeling this way? How long have we been down here? I don't remember. I don't know when. I honestly don't. I wish I could tell you more than that, but I have nothing. I look to that place in my mind, and there is something else there, or sometimes nothing at all. What do you mean by something else? I've been having other people's dreams, and I see faces I don't recognize, places I've never been, or maybe I have. I don't know. How can I know what's real or what's not when I can't trust my own mind? Well, maybe I can help you with that. We can go over things you think you've forgotten, and I can just... Don't patronize me. I know you felt it, Anand. Your mind gets hazy. Parts of you start to slip. Your memories grow faint, fading in and out until they're gone, or worse, replaced. You see pasts that aren't yours, experiences that you've never lived. You start to become other people, or nobody at all. Please, I'm just trying to help. Do you even know my work before we met? Come to think of it, I don't even remember how we met. I know your name. I know that you're a psychologist, but are we friends? Are we brothers? I don't know how I know you. We work together, I know that. I still have that. But other things, they come and go. I don't even know if I'm married or have children. I see. And that isn't the worst of it. I know this is happening to me. I know my mind is coming apart, but there's something else in there too. Something rising out of the smoke of my smoldering consciousness. The eel. The eel? I don't remember my mother. I can hear her voice, but I don't remember her face. I can't remember how she smelled or how she... But what I do remember is that she told me about gods. There's a god called Anantashesha, a serpent, the king of serpents, said to lie beneath Vishnu in the cosmos. A six-headed snake god. Isn't that something? Yes, I'm familiar. Of course, I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't remember much, but I do remember that she told me about how Anantashesha would linger past the end. Gaze upon the darkness past the end of time. She said that when the light of the universe had gone out, all that would be left is Anantashesha. I've worked my entire life for the Foundation, so much as I can recall. I've struggled to build my name and reputation and done everything I can do to leave something, anything, some kind of mark that says I was here, but what is it? I believe that SCP-3000 is Anantashesha. I believe that this aberration, this treachery against cognition, is the result of us being in the presence of a god. Not just a god, but a god who exists across all time, all at once, and even beyond. Maybe some part of the nothingness beyond the edge of time is part of Anantashesha as well. Maybe it acts as a conduit, some kind of... Please, we're scientists. No, let me finish. In defiance of the nothingness that comes after this, all of this, there is Anantashesha. There is a chance that my memories might live on, that I might be remembered like the memories I've seen have been through me. I don't have proof of this, but when I looked into its eyes and saw what it showed me, I was afraid. I'm merely a mediocre man, Anand. This was a fear that I have refused to acknowledge for years, a fear of irrelevance, that no one will know who I am when I die, a fear of being forgotten, afraid of my life being meaningless, afraid of being alone, afraid of dying. There's a terror within me that I can't reconcile, Anand. I won't lie to you and tell you that the maw of the Naga does not terrify me as well, but between this and the infinite dark I have gazed into, I've made up my mind. After 2 days of containment within a secure holding cell on board the Eremita, orders were received to lift the hold order on Dr. Krishnamoorthy in accordance with the terms of the Aztec Protocol. 3 hours after Dr. Krishnamoorthy was released from his holding cell, the following incident took place.
219.
Krishnamoorthy stands near the entrance to the Eremita's aft airlock. Subject is facing away from nearest camera.
219.
Proximity alarm is triggered. Exterior floodlights activate. SCP-3000 is still not visible. Command is alerted, and Eremita's engines engage, preparing for evasive maneuvers.
220.
Krishnamoorthy is startled by proximity alarm and begins to appear panicked. Subject continues to look to entrance to the aft airlock. Subject turns briefly towards nearest camera and is observed to be weeping.
220.
Krishnamoorthy slowly approaches the aft airlock and opens airlock door.
220.
Krishnamoorthy slowly approaches aft airlock and opens airlock door. Subject enters airlock and primary access door seals behind the subject.
220.
Interior airlock camera captures Krishnamoorthy staring at the exterior airlock door for a full 2 minutes, unmoving. After 2 minutes, subject collapses to the ground.
221.
All cameras shutter as primary turbines spin up. SCP-3000 is visible on radar, approaching SCP-F Eremita. SCP-3000 is not visible on exterior cameras.
226.
Krishnamoorthy stands and approaches diving suit locker. Subject puts on a high-pressure deep-sea diving suit and moves towards exterior door controls. Subject engages exterior door latch. Interior airlock camera is obscured by rushing water.
227.
Secondary alarm is triggered by airlock breach. Personnel on the bridge attempt to close airlock, but Krishnamoorthy has already exited the airlock.
228.
Krishnamoorthy hangs in the water behind the aft section of the Eremita, illuminated by exterior floodlights. Subject is motionless.
228.
SCP-3000 slowly appears from out of the darkness. Krishnamoorthy remains motionless.
228.
Exterior cameras shutter as Eremita begins to reverse towards Krishnamoorthy. Rescue teams have assembled in the airlock chamber.
228.
SCP-3000 approaches Krishnamoorthy. Its mouth begins to open. Aramita sounds horns, but neither SCP-3000 or the subject appear to notice.
229.
SCP-3000 moves to just above Krishnamoorthy. Subject appears to look up into the now fully expanded jaw of SCP-3000. Aramita begins to flash external floodlights. Airlock opens. Anand, I was wrong. God save me, it's not. SCP-3000 strikes and quickly consumes Krishnamoorthy.
229.
SCP-3000 disappears into the darkness and is no longer visible on exterior cameras. Rescue crews are recalled. Crew begins to initiate Aztec protocol. Following the incident, Dr. Manava would take Dr. Krishnamoorthy's statue of the Hindu god Ganesh and place it in his own office, next to the picture of his wife and kids, remembering Dr. Krishnamoorthy's ramblings about Anantashesha. And yet, despite these events, as Dr. Manava would realize, the true horror of the creature had yet to be realized. This is not what makes this anomaly terrifying. In the months following Dr. Krishnamoorthy's death, Dr. Manava would discover the true terror of this effect. Dr. Manava would continue studying SCP-3000 and the thick gray liquid that is created whenever the creature consumes a human. This substance, which would be designated as the Y909 compound, would prove to be one of the most valuable materials the Foundation had ever discovered, used to create and stabilize most of the Foundation's amnestics. This discovery is what upgraded SCP-3000 from the Keter class to Thamiel. A few months after the incident, Dr. Manava would be rearranging his office when he knocked over the table holding the Ganesh statue. The statue would end up being fine, but the frame holding the picture of his wife and daughter shattered on the floor. As he cleaned up the mess, he noticed the names of his wife and daughter written on the back of the photograph, only it wasn't written in his handwriting. It was the handwriting of the late Dr. Krishnamoorthy. Panicked, Dr. Manava would check the Foundation database to learn what he already feared. He was not, and had never been, married. The woman and child in the photograph, the family he had so many memories of that he could hear the voices of, remember the conversations with, was not his. In horror, he realized these memories were in fact the memories of his late colleague. By this point, the entity had clearly done its work. Coiled around his mind, the serpent would beckon the doctor out into the water, where he would meet a similar fate to Dr. Krishnamoorthy. There was a time when some educated scientists of the Victorian age believed it impossible that life could actually exist thousands of feet below the surface of the ocean, under crushing pressure and absolute darkness. Of course, hundreds of years later, we know that they were wrong, but despite all of the scientific advances and technological innovations, we still know virtually nothing about the waters that cover a huge majority of the Earth's surface. Oil rigs have always fascinated me. Between the sheer scale of the structure, the different methods of anchoring, and the absolute isolation. On the one hand, an oil rig is probably one of the safest places to be in a zombie apocalypse. On the other, if anything were to compromise the structural integrity of the rig, you now have to face Mother Nature herself. Still Wakes the Deep takes this even further, forcing you not only to contend with the most powerful force on Earth, but with one that comes from far beyond. Kaz McCleary is an electrician working on the BRD oil rig in the North Sea. He's been having a bit of a rough morning as his boss, David Rennick, just discovered he has a warrant out for his arrest and is in the process of firing him.
I run a tight ship. Do you understand me? A tight ship.
Technically, it's no shit.
Shut your gob, you Ned prick! I am sick to fucking bouking of you wee gobshites messing with my operation. That chef might be a mate of yours, but he does not run things around here. I do. Do you understand me?
All right, why don't you just get on with it?
Don't you answer me back! You might be the height of shite on shore, McCleary, but out here, I am the fucking king. Do you understand me? You bring the police to my door, to my rig.
Look, I can sort this, right? I just need time.
Shut it, you clatty gobshite. I've got here a man who can make a more positive contribution to this operation than you.
Little do either of them know, everyone's day is about to get a whole lot worse as the drill on the bottom of the rig collides with something solid and explodes.
Fuck's sake, Gibbo, I don't care. We're on a schedule. It's a fucking drill. You've got a fucking drill, so drill through it. Yeah, well, Roper's a whiny old fud. He's got a problem with everything. I don't care if it feels off. Just fucking do it! Or I'll come down there myself.
That trouble with the missus?
You're fired.
Jesus, Gregor! Gregor! Get back, man! Guys, help me! Guys, don't let me die, man. Please! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! Jesus, just hang on! Fuck! 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 Ah! 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 Ah!
As they retract the drill, they discover that they've dragged something back up from the depths. Appearing as massive tendrils, that something, which we will refer to as the Shape, begins infecting the crew members, turning them into horrible monstrosities. Now, we'll be going more into depth about the assimilation and transformations of the Shape in my upcoming video about assimilation, but here's what's important. The Shape functions almost like the Flood from Halo, but without the hive mind effect. Anyone exposed to it begins to transform, their appendages becoming misshapen and deformed as their body is pulled apart into a tentacled mass of flesh. And while most of these creatures are encountered on the rig itself, that all changes in Sirens Rest. Sirens Rest takes place 11 years after the events of Still Wakes the Deep and follows a woman named Mary as she searches the wreckage of what used to be the Bira D oil rig, photographing evidence and collecting keepsakes for the families of those who were lost. Naturally, as she explores the wreckage, she stumbles into what is left of the Shape. The entity appeared to have died, its previously almost psychedelic tendrils now gray and hardened, with Mary mistaking them for coral. As she explores deeper, she finds a pocket of air buried in the rubble and, removing her helmet, exposes herself to the entity.
My God. Is this? This can't be. There's an air pocket.
What?
It's an entire room, maybe more. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
No, but you're serious.
Yes. Yes. Has it been like this for 10 years?
I don't know.
The comms are breaking up, Rob. Look, I've got to explore this. I can't carry the umbilical up in the air. I'm going to detach for a little bit. I've got the O2 tanks. I'll come back if I need a recharge. I can't hear you, Rob. Hope you heard what I said. I won't be long. Guess not.
Not long after, she begins suffering from hallucinations before being attacked by a creature. Unsure of what's real and what isn't, Mary makes her way back to her diving team's bell, only to find it empty with her diving partner not inside.
Robin!
are you? Hans, what's going on? Rob's not in the bell. Where is he? Hans, are you there? Jesus! What the hell? Rob, where are you?
As she attempts to radio the surface, a giant creature slams into the bell, causing it to begin filling with water. I won't spoil the ending, you should go play the game for yourself, but what I do want to look at is the similarities between cosmic horror and thalassophobia. See, cosmic horror has a very distinct focus on the unknown, on the incomprehensible, and I think those qualities are what give the oceans so much of its allure. The mix of underwater gigantism, the seeming lack of gravity, the absence of light, and the distortion of sound, it's no wonder that those people of the Victorian age believed in sea monsters. With whale sharks, lion manes, jellyfish, giant squid, anglerfish, blobfish, and so many strange and elusive creatures still existing to this day, and with even more incomprehensible creatures like the megalodon having existed in the prehistoric eras, it makes sense where the stories of Scylla, the Kraken, and even the Loch Ness Monster come from. And it's easy to see just from stories and legends that we've always had a sort of obsession with the megalophobia of the ocean. 91 years ago, Aldi McKay spotted an enormous creature with the body of a whale in Loch Ness. 173 years ago, Captain Ahab hunted the elusive white whale. 325 years ago, Francesco Negri described the Kraken in a travel log. Jump back some 3,000 years and you'll find the ancient Greeks telling stories of Scylla and Charybdis. We have always been enamored by the sheer scale of biology that the ocean enables, and so naturally, we would eventually take that to its limits. The Thing inhabits level 7 of the Backrooms, an infinite expanse of endless ocean completely devoid of all sea creatures. The Thing appears to hold a similar biological makeup to SCP-3000, however, it completely dwarfs the SCP in terms of size. The Thing is so large that taking any form of measurement from it is practically impossible, its body coiling endlessly through the deep abyss of the ocean. Its head and tail have yet to be recorded, making it impossible to even estimate its true size. The Thing also has a cognitohazard associated with it. However, unlike SCP-3000, the cognitive effect does not affect you directly, but informs the Thing of your location. Put simply, the more you learn about it, the more it will be drawn to you. Due to this cognitohazard, the Thing is incredibly difficult to research, leading experts to argue over how the entity actually functions. Initially, it was believed that the Thing shared some biological traits with smilers, namely the nigrum ignum, which allows smilers to change their form at will. This would explain both the entity's size as well as its propensity to remain in deep spaces of the ocean where the dim sunlight cannot penetrate. The obvious hole in this theory being that the thing has been seen in the light before, and thus, while it may have a similar ability, the majority of the thing seems to be composed of some sort of corporeal flesh. More recent explorations have found that the creature is completely covered by a host of parasites, and leading theories now suggest that the parasites may have hijacked the entity's nervous system, leading to its strange behavior. More fringe theories suggest the thing may even be entirely dead, and what was previously believed to be one entity is a sort of hive mind puppeteering the corpse of a once formidable creature. Personally, I believe a mix of the theories to be true. There's enough evidence to suggest that the thing was once capable of shifting its appearance, leaving an inky black residue in the water, hallmark to the nigrum ignum organ. This would also explain early reports claiming that the thing was able to appear as anything from a whale to a giant anglerfish to an enormous eel. However, at some point between discovery and now, the creature was compromised, either killed outright or harmed enough to allow parasites or some other force to take hold. This would explain the thing's tendency to play dead, with its body floating motionless on the currents of the water, despite no currents ever being documented in the oceans of Level 7. It would also explain the entity's sudden burst of movement as either an involuntary reaction to the interference with its nervous system, or as some sort of internal gastrointestinal issue causing pockets of gas to burst out of the creature's body. Regardless of the method by which the thing functions, the entity is incredibly dangerous and responsible for well over disappearances. Thalassophobia has lived rent-free in my mind ever since I discovered the word to describe it. There's something so surreal about the feelings it brings, between the megalophobia and the strange sense of liminality, the abundance of life it holds, and the sheer level of depth that it can cause. There's too much to cover in one video, especially one in this format, so I'll be making a full Thalassophobia iceberg at some point, so make sure you subscribe for that, but I'll leave you with this. As Nexpo said,
one thing has and will always hold true. The ocean is fucking horrifying.
It's a force of nature manifested into a physical form. It's the representation of how small humanity really is, even on our own planet, and it's a constant reminder that despite whatever innovations we make, there will always be bigger fish in the sea.